We have some super cool, weird home gossip coming on the show. It's all the way from Austin on today's Big Blend Radio Garden Gossip Show. We have David and Chelle Neff. They're the founders of the Weird Homes Tour joining us. They're the recent finalists for the We Work Creator Awards. We like that. And they're joining us to talk about not only their tours, but their awesome new book. It's called Weird Homes, The People and Places That Keep Austin Strangely Wonderful. I would like to see one of these books for every city and town across America and around the world, quite frankly. I see this as like a whole new series. And,
I can name some places.
I know.
Like 29 Palms.
Yes, yes.
Oh.
Bev Doodle's house with all the feathers on the outside. Yeah, that were carved in on the walls. Very cool stuff. It is a beautiful coffee table book, but honestly, as soon as I got it in my hands, I sat down with a glass of wine, and then I had another one, and then it was 3 in the morning, and I read the entire thing, and I tripped out because it's creative, it's so colorful and cool, and not only does it show everyone's creativity in this city, I mean, it's amazing, the stories, and it's the stories of the people, like, hey, why did they decide to not do the homeowner association, little manicured lawns? They said, screw that, and I love it. So check it out. Go to their website, weirdhomestour.com, and also Weird Homes, their book, is available on Amazon, and it's published through Skyhorse Publishing as well, so go check it out. But let's welcome David. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, we're happy. We're excited because you and Chelle are on the show. Chelle, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having us.
We're excited about this. We love anything that's weird, and I think I got excited just the title, Weird Homes. I was like, oh, we have to have them on the show just because they're covering weird homes. And Nancy and I have this thing about, like, at the end of the day, we can't just be little boxes on the hillside and manicured lawns, and everybody has the same color house, and we're not allowed to do this and not allowed to do that. So I think that this book represents this
character.
Before they all go away, that I felt like reading this and looking at the homes and hearing everyone's story or reading everyone's stories, an urgency about this. Chelle, do you think there is like an urgency of keeping our places like how we want to, creatively?
Yeah. I mean, and that's one of the main reasons we did this book is because we saw that some of these homes were going away, and we have, 19 Austin homes featured in this book, and 3 of them are already gone. So we definitely wanted to create something that preserved these homes, in a timeless manner. And that was just, and David actually came up with the idea for the book, and I thought this is brilliant because this gives those homes a place and a place to live forever.
I know the Flamingo Ranch because you even talked about that in the book, and I love the Flamingo Ranch. I was like, this is one of the coolest, and we lived in Florida for a while, and there's flamingos there, and then all of a sudden you're like, this is important. I was like, damn it, now I have to trade my wine in for tequila. I'm pissed.
There's that man in Tuolumne who has his whole lawn is pink flamingos, remember?
Yeah, and then we weren't allowed to photograph it.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Come
on. But David, tell us a little bit about this because it's interesting that you started this with we're doing tours, and a percentage of the tours you're giving to nonprofits that help people get affordable housing. And affordable housing is becoming a huge issue across America. I know we've done a lot of issues just on homeless issues. I remember doing a show on homelessness in America, and the average age at that time, we were talking about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, was 9 years old. And so I love that this is all like this giving back, keeping creativity alive, and getting people out and thinking about, not just themselves, but also thinking about themselves that they can be themselves instead of the little blocks on the hillside. So, David, where did all of this start?
Yeah, I'll let Chelle tell you the origin story since she's kind of our founder, and it's a good story. But what we've done is just what you said. When we started this business, we were really just interested in creating something that gives back. Is it a B Corp? Is it a nonprofit? Is it an LLC? That's all really irrelevant nowadays. And instead, how do you build a good company that hires really smart people and does good things with the world, right? And not just, hey, we recycle in our cafeteria, but how do we take a percentage of the money we earn and invest it back in the local affordable housing scene. Just like you said, there's this huge problem with affordable housing all across America, and especially in the cities that we're in, it's very acute. And, we don't consider it a donation. We consider it an investment. We know that when we put that $5, in, that there's $15 that comes out that's helping people find homes where they need to find homes. And if we can build a really successful business over time, not only exposing people to amazing art, showing them, to your point earlier, that all their walls don't have to have shiplap and farm sinks. They can put purple on the wall. They can hang that crazy piece of art. And we can give back and support affordable housing, then, that's an awesome business. And we can't wait to just grow that and grow that.
I love that you say you're investing and it's not just a donation where, here, I did this, I write a check, and there it is. Because I think there's something about just doing that where it's like, okay, I did my good deed and now I can turn a blind eye kind of thing. And the investment in is that you're part of that community because it's going to come back to you. I mean, just if you think of it, big picture in one community. I know Austin is big and spread out. You've got to look at Chelle with you at Urban Betty, your salon. Eventually, someone's going to come back into your salon and give you your money back in some way. It's going to circle
Correct.
back.
Yes, so true. Yes, so true.
Yeah.
It really is true. If you look big picture, if more than half the people in the states are poor, then the rich people are going to get poorer. They're not going to get richer anymore. They're going to get poorer because who's going to buy the product? So we're on a spiral right now where things are getting to they're coming to a head where I think the richer side's going, hey, wait a minute, how come profits are dropping? Because we've created a huge sector of the population who can't afford housing. And that means they can't afford very much other than food, not even shelter. Think about it, the things that you need in life. So it is worthwhile to lend a helping hand and house people and get them back so they can do things, so they can be like, they can spend money that the rich people want. I mean, that's a crude way of saying it, but it's true. I'm trying to get it down to like, hello.
Very true.
Yeah.
It is.
Where did it start, Chelle?
Well, David and I were walking around our old neighborhood in Austin, and we saw this house that looked like the Alamo. And
cool.
I was like, what in the world is this? I want to see what the inside of this looks like so bad. And I told him, we should go home and search on the internet and see if there's anything out there, like a weird home tour for Austin. We, love home tours. We've been on the chicken coop tour of Austin. I mean, Austin has all these crazy tours, modern home tour, you name it. And so the idea bloomed from tender nosiness, just me wanting to be voyeuristic and see how people live that have these homes. And David went back home and researched and looked, and he's like, I can't find anything. Can you believe it? And I was like, no, I can't believe it. And he came back about a week later and was like, I think we should do it. And I said, wait, we both have full-time other jobs, right? He was like, I don't care. I think it's a great idea. So we actually, and it's crazy, we launched it the same year we bought our first home and got married. So I tell people, if we can make it through all of this, we're going to make it through.
Is your home weird?
Yeah.
That's a great question. It's I tell people I think it's slowly becoming weird. Every year we're majorly into Halloween. When you referenced that earlier, I was dying. So we have half of our garage is full of like Halloween treasures, and we every year when we put our decorations back, I feel like I leave about 10% of them still out.
Cool.
So awesome. I tell people in about 10 to 20 years, we'll probably be headlining on this tour.
I love that because, especially if you have anything to do with cobwebs, you can put it out and say, it's my Halloween decorations, but it could be real. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it.
That's the thing. Going through the book, half of these houses, I want to say, who cleans them? I mean, there's
the dust factor.
So many of these people have, collections of things from traveling or, they're obsessed with, twin heads and I don't know, like skeletons and all kinds of. I mean, there's some crazy stuff in there, but like, who cleans it all?
It's dusty.
I asked one of our homeowners one time, and she said, I just do it. It's a labor of love. It's worth it to me. It's not a big deal. I just get in my Zen mode and I dust all my stuff. And I was like, wow, that truly is a labor of love. Yeah.
So, okay, how do you approach the homeowners? Because it's so interesting, your story about how this started. Because, okay, so a little tiny backstory of Nancy and I, we traveled the country for 3 years going to national parks. Our thing is to go to national parks, not just the 60 that we now have. We have 417 national park units within our country. And you guys are on a trail that we're going to actually be passing through this year at the El Camino. I can't even say it. It's El Camino de Teos Trail. Mm-hmm. It goes from Mexico up through San Antonio, through Austin to Natchitoches, Louisiana. But anyway, we went on the road for 3 years. We said, that's it, screw it. We gave pretty much 98% of our home away to a nonprofit here in Tucson that helps people transition from living on the street to having an apartment. And how they get your stuff is they're getting their apartment and they get to just call dibs on it, and it helps them move forward. And they came, and the people getting the homes actually come to your house and take your stuff. Which
was very emotional.
It's an incredibly emotional thing.
It was like,
and
whoa.
It was emotional anyway, because it was emotional going, you're just giving everything away. We had like a tiny storage unit.
But then
just
you start running around the house looking for something else to give.
I know, and it was like you knew that this had this journey going on. So we went on the road. We came back home because, quite frankly, we need decent internet and things that you think you're going to be okay on, you're not. But anyway, we came back now, and we live very, very tiny house style. And it's very interesting because we were in Yuma, Arizona. We were stationed there for quite a bit as like a head base at the time, and this historic downtown that they had where all these people were moving in, and I'm talking a mixed community of age group, of race, of everything. And it was so cool to see Yuma change this way. And this one area, people were refurbishing these really, really old homes. And Nancy and I started walking the neighborhood every morning, and there in the window was the big boy, Bob's big boy. And we're like, there's this big boy in the window. And I kept wanting to take a photo, but I didn't want to put it up on Instagram like, hey, there's a big boy in the window, And then the one time we were walking through, the owner walked by and said hi. And we're like, dude, why didn't we say, like, we want to see your big boy?
No,
that sounds bad.
This is like the old drive-in food place, Bob's Big Boy, hamburgers kind of thing, and this thing
took the whole window.
There's no way they got it through the door.
Mm-mm.
And when you walk past their house, you look in the living room window,
and that's a big boy.
Fills the whole room, and you can see part of his face and down to his shoes, but you can't see the whole thing because it's that big and it's inside the house. So we're like, we just want to like knock on the door and say, can we come in and see your big boy?
I know. And we never did. We're still pissed at ourselves to this day. So, like, who did the first phone call to someone's home and says, we want to see your weird home, and it's weird?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, Chelle, the other day, and, I remember us going to James Talbot's house, Casa Neverlandia, which graces the cover of the coffee table book.
Oh,
and
I love it.
Just knocking on it, nobody answered, and taking a note that we had kind of prepared and putting it through a mail slot, and then thinking, wow, I should go home and just print a bunch of these and ask people give us addresses, we'll mail them letters. And, these people are not millennials, but they sure acted like millennials. Nobody returned my letter. Nobody's even checking their mail probably, right? They don't even remember they have a mailbox in front of their house. And so it just took, I majored in journalism when I was in college, so I've always had that kind of go up and talk to people quality. And it just took so much knocking on doors. And then finally I was on a trip with my real job And I remember finally getting a phone number and getting James on the phone and sitting there in a hotel room in Dallas 5 years ago and talking to James on the phone for an hour about his background, his travels all over the world, how he used to design children's playscapes. And he was like a playground designer, and how he works like that kind of innocence and craziness of playing outside when you're at recess into his house and into his art, and just kind of really having to sell him on this idea of, yes, I want to open up your house and have strangers come in it and look at it. And he had been on HGTV. He had been on like a house flipping show and an art show, and so he had plenty of experience. And just getting him to say yes, and just kind of, you know, it's like if you ever sold something to anyone, and the first time you actually get a yes, you're kind of floored by it. But I don't know if he was the first person that we walked up and knocked on the door, but he was the first person that we got, that then other people were like, oh, you got a hold of James Talbot at Casa Neverlandia? Okay, I'll return your phone call now. I'll return your email.
There's like a network.
It is like that.
Yeah,
you got the network. You tapped
the
it.
The big boy guy knows the Halloween house, who knows the house that has all the taxidermy, that knows the people that own the oddity shop. And they all talk. They all are in the same art shows. They know the people in Portland, who know the people in New Orleans, who know the people in New York.
Wow, yeah.
And it's just this amazing detective show of Shelley, myself, Kevin, who's our managing director, going around and like finding these people and getting tips from the general public. And then once you get in, it's who do they know, who knows. It's definitely kind of 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
It's so badass, and but the reality is, it's the story behind the people. I mean, behind the house, it's the people. It's like, where did you get this stuff? Why did you put this mosaic on your wall? There's a lady who does the certified wildlife habitat, and I want to give her a shout out because we cover that on our show almost every month on certified wildlife habitats. I'm like, yay, because it's so cool.
Awesome.
You know, to me, there's these things that people can take away and go, you know, the one lady you have in there that basically, like I'm looking at my card now going, now if we did the tour in this RAV4, we call her Mulva. Yes, it's from Seinfeld. Her full name is Mulva Cleopatra Doppelganger.
That's
good. But anyway.
Sometimes we can't find her.
I know. But if I like decked her out like the one lady who did all these, you know, attached everything to the car, like I'm like, that would be a cool statement. Who cares about putting a skin on like, hello, it's Big Blend Radio. Who cares? Let's do like weird stuff. But she went from her house and then got weird in her apartment. And I think that is an interesting thing because I have a friend who, she lived in an apartment and she's like, I don't care. I'm painting the walls. I'll just take it all down when I'm done and know that I'm financially going to have to clean this. But you walked in her apartment. I'm like, you can't do this in an apartment. She's like, oh, hell yes. Look, I don't care. Look what I've done. And she did weird glow lights on her ceiling. She had different wall colors. Remember Mary in San Diego?
Yes.
Yeah. And she got away with it everywhere she went. And that lady in your book did that. And I was like, that's inspiration for apartment owners across the country, but not necessarily the management.
Well, management hates that, but, you know, too bad. This thing about everybody should be the same and, you know, track tone when you walk through neighborhoods, and it's so boring and annoying, you know, and I mean, that's why people travel to different countries and want to see something new and different, and I don't understand why in this country we have this, we must all look like this. Yeah, I don't get it.
So true.
Yeah, and it's boring.
Have you become friends with the homeowners?
Oh, yes. We've become very close personal friends with them because you really have got to let them trust you, so you've got to go in and talk to them. And one of our, you know, homeowners is an intuitive, and I've had a session with her, and David and I have had a session with her, and she invited me to come have tea with her. Like, we love her. My dad we have people that come and help us with the tour. My dad was like her bathroom tour guide, and he fell in love with her, and like she knows my family now.
You could be a bathroom tour
whole
guide?
Thing.
Listen,
Yes.
everybody,
Yes.
there's opportunities to volunteer. Go to their website,
Yes.
weirdhometour.com.
Yes.
You
You
too
can be
could
a
be in the
bathroom tour
bathroom.
guide.
You could do that.
That's right.
Does
She
anybody
has
have
a
a
working
bar?
light show in her bathroom.
Oh, I
so.
vote for that. I'll be the bar guide.
I want to be the guide with the guy
Okay.
who has the house. I mean, and they were architects, right? Wasn't it, like they were really into this. The house with the fireplace with the big mouth.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that.
I want that.
Yeah, the Green Man fireplace, which is
I love it.
kind of inspired by these Nordic legends and
Yeah.
a lot of folklore and folk tales. And yeah, he's a very famous architect in Austin and around Texas. And that house just looks so normal on the outside, and then it's so wild on the inside. Secret passageways. There's a belfry, and they put a plastic bat so they could say there's a bat in the belfry, and just everything you can imagine. And it is like 5 lead star, powered totally by solar. Just such an incredible earth-friendly building. And then inside, you're just like, whoa, what is going on in here? It's like a Renaissance festival / traveling back in time.
I love it because if you want to tell someone to go to hell, like, you know, there's, you know, we're talking
Let
about
me show
this.
you the fireplace.
You know how we always, like on soap operas, they have someone throw the glass in the fire?
Yeah.
Well, which is how I set my carpet on fire in my trash can. I did as a kid years ago. Like, I'm like, people would throw things, set something on fire, and then mine was plastic and it melted to the carpet. And that was not, I wasn't popular as a child, but doing that. But if you at that big, you know, here's the big mouth, and I mean, he's like, roar, you know, and you just want to say, go to hell, and you could throw a glass and, like, curse someone's name. Like, you could totally do your own spell. Sorry, I'm, like, crazy weird. But that's the thing. Your book gets us all, like, I think it makes people go into their subconscious a little bit going through it. Do you see that on the tours when people tour and see the homes? Does it kind of... Because some of this stuff is like, there's some freaky stuff in there that would scare people. But do you see people kind of like, I'm really into this? Like, there's like this other layer that they haven't tapped into yet.
Yeah, they definitely get their desire gets sparked to change things in their home. I mean, mine does when I see it. There's some elements in my own home that I saw from when we just go to scout these homes, and I'm like, babe, I'm going to go home and I'm going to build all these bookshelves in our house, just like one of our ladies, Valerie, has. And I mean, it is funny, and you start to, because you're around these homeowners, and you pick up different things. And it's, I think every single person that comes on this tour could pick up something from, they're weird, but there are certain elements in there that you could add to your home that would look amazing, and you wouldn't necessarily have a weird home. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to say, the first home that I purchased, I painted the bedroom in all clouds on the ceiling and all the walls.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you woke up, you were outside, but you weren't really outside, but you looked like you were outside. And the dare was to paint the floor also.
So that's
in clouds. And I couldn't make myself do it because it was hardwood floors. And then I always regretted it because then it would be so cool. You'd be just floating always.
Well, I think,
you know?
I think the weird homes, like, it's kind of like going on the Vegas Strip in some weird way. Like, it is. I mean, you know, come on, Liberace had a weird home. Like, he did. Seriously.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Right.
You know he did. Like, that would be like that. He's got books on it. But I was going to say, in Mexico, we lived in Mexico for a little while, and we rented this house on the beach, and it was a crazy time because we were there to take care of my grandparents, and it was just a crazy, one of those weird times in your life that everything stops. You have to move your life right now to Mexico. And there was this house, and it was called the House of the Dead Seal. So most people won't move into a house like that.
But that was named after the Doors.
The Doors, and there's a song in the Doors. It's on the live album, the double one, and there's it's in there. And so this was the weirdest house. You could walk downstairs, and it was like you're at under the sea. Yeah. So the living room, and we took this place. None of us could. We had too many of us, but we took it because the living room was the ocean.
So weird.
So we all decided to live in that because we're all artists and stuff, you know. So we were weird, and it was like this weird thing. And there were skeletons hanging on the you know, fence outside, and then you go in, and then she had the lady who owned it at one point left her library, and there was her journal, and I would sit there and get my wine out at night and read her journal, and there was all this Jim Morrison stuff, and I'm like, no way. And then she talked about meeting him in Ensenada where we were.
But she might have.
And I don't know if it's true or not. It was crazy cool.
Every room in that house was painted a different color,
different theme.
And it wasn't like a soft pink. It was like hot pink, royal blue, royal purple. Everything was like straight out of the paint can with no mixing, tonal anything. And we've lived in 2 houses like that, one in Pietermaritzburg in South Africa and one in Mexico, where when you don't come home drunk, because as you go from room to room, it's a physical shock.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah. Y'all would have totally been on our tour.
This is so. I can't tell you how excited we are about this, because it's like you go through. I want to go on a tour. I really wish I was in Austin. Do you see? I know on your website and weirdhometours.com. Everyone go there. Do you see? You talk about Austin. You talk about Portland. New Orleans, Houston. Are you going to do actual physical tours, and are more books coming out? Because I'm ready for the next one, but I also want to do a tour.
Great question. So, yes, we're not one to do virtual VR tours just yet. I'm sure we'll figure that out down the line. We actually have filmed one of our houses in virtual reality, and that house is now gone, unfortunately. So you can kind of still go and put a little headset on.
But at least it's still there.
And see
the heart is there. Yeah. So
That's right. And but yes, all physical locations. So this year we'll be in Austin, Houston, New Orleans, Detroit, and Portland. And I think, it took us a while to write this book, to find a publisher. You can imagine coffee table books are not the cheapest thing to put out, and it's kind of its own art form. And we love Skyhorse. They're out of New York. They're one of the first people we pitched, and we talked to a couple of different publishers, and they were the best ones out there that we loved, and we love how the book is done and how it came out. And so absolutely, we'd love to do a book in each of our cities. I think that depends on how many we sell. So hopefully we're getting the word out and getting people to go out and say, yes, this is cool. Exactly. Please visit Amazon or your local bookstore and pick it up, and then we'll get to write more and more of them.
Well, one thing too,
you go get the book, and then you go to the paint store
and go crazy,
and go home and get wild.
Go to every flea market
Totally.
and go crazy. But I think also the inspiration is really cool, because there's a lot of people with their collections, but some of the stories in there that I truly, Nancy and I both are, we're into. What can we do environmentally? What can we do solution-wise? And I think the dumpster project one was,
that's amazing.
That was probably one of the most important things. And when there was a lady who also built her earth house,
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So these things were like teaching us, like, hey, this is how we can look to the future, especially with affordable. It went with your affordable housing, your whole plan of what you're doing. So the dumpster project was cool because your professor got in your book twice.
He did. He snuck in there.
Tell everybody
it was interesting.
This. Yeah.
Well, it's cool to see how it evolved, because I kind of noticed that. I'm like, I'm sure if he had not, done this experiment of living in a dumpster for a year on his college campus to teach people about, sustainable living and small homes, it would have never evolved and grown into this casita idea of smaller homes, stackable, that people can buy that are affordable. And so it was so cool to just kind of notice that just the other day. I just kind of had that epiphany, like, oh my gosh. And I'm sure some people, it probably just dawned on them right away, but I was like, oh my gosh, had he not done this dumpster experiment of living in it, he would have never grown into developing this whole line of sustainable homes for people. So we had to feature both, and it was really cool. I mean, and I how cool is he to be your professor, and people can actually go, this dumpster is still on the college campus, and they can rent it out and sleep in it for a few nights to get that experience. And you can send a few people in there. We we all crawled in there. There was like 4 of us. It was a little tight, but, you know, it was fun.
Well, he also said in that, you know, where he ended up, he said one of the things he took away from that was that you're not so much living in your house, you're living on the outside. So he got to know his community more, which I thought was so cool.
Exactly. Yeah, he wasn't laying in his lazy boy watching Netflix anymore because you don't have that luxury in that small of a home. So you actually get outside and do more things and know more people. And, I mean, that's definitely, I think, a healthier attitude to have.
You know, it's interesting to us because we lived in Africa for a while, and we lived with 2 different tribes in Kenya, and we lived in South Africa. And we are American, both of us born in California, but when we left this country and went to a whole different style of thinking and living, there's an adjustment period. We will admit that. But we found that you did live more outdoors and you were more social, not on the internet, because I'm talking about a time when we didn't even have the internet. And you talked to people, you got to know people. Didn't mean you liked everybody, but everybody got along, and you were more outside. The indoors really was more for sleeping. You know, and you were living more outdoors than indoors, and the whole thing was more social. Then when we came back to this country, the culture shock, everybody's like, oh, you're going to go to Africa, culture shock. The culture shock was worse coming from Africa to the States than it was from going from the States to Africa, just because of the housing and the way people lived.
The lack of community, village.
I mean, even now with social media, you're still indoors on a computer. You're not talking to people face to face.
Right.
It's true.
Right. It's that connection. Yeah. That's so important.
I think.
And
go ahead.
I think that's the beauty, though, of our tour, and maybe even versus what Shelley and I do for our other jobs or other pursuits that we're just interested in. Is there something about being able to go on the tour yourself and not tell people who you are and just kind of watch people's faces, right? Like there's this very Alice through the looking glass moment that happens, and you see this in people's faces when they walk in and, you know, they see the fire pole and the statues and the slides and everything else that's going on in the background. You know, has just been crazy to see, and they're just so excited by it. And we kind of love that and do call that the Alice in the Looking Glass moment.
I think it's so important, and I love it because I think it really promotes individuality and being who you are. And so much we get into this thing of, we need to do what society always says. And yet,
the homeowners association thing.
I think every community has a weird society, and it's not necessarily weird. It's about being who you are and expressing instead of, you know, being the bottled in and, we're supposed to do it this way. You know, I think it's beautiful to me. Whether or not you like the weirdness or can connect to it, it doesn't matter. It's about that individualism of, this is how I want to live. If you don't like it, don't
live in my house.
Don't live here. Yeah. You know. So how do the homeowners feel about the tours? Do they all stay there, or do they talk to people, or do they not want to? Like how does that work for them?
Yeah, when we sign on these homes, we definitely let them know that part of the tour is being there with your home and answering questions, and because that idea stemmed from, we went on a modern homes tour, and sometimes by the end of those tours they're fun, but you can't remember, all the houses just lump as one in your brain. And one of the homes, because usually the homeowners, they send them away, so one of the homes that year we went, the homeowner was actually there and was answering all these questions, and I was like, oh my God, I remember this home because all the design elements, he told us where they came from and how he was so inspired by them. And I said, David, we need to have the homeowners there. This is their art, and they are a part of this home. And so it makes people's days to be able to talk to them and ask them. And it is tiring for the homeowners, but they get so much love from all the people coming through the tour, and they can't express enough gratitude at the end of the day because they're not used to having so many people appreciate their home. And so it's a win-win.
I think that's really cool because they also get to say, this is why I do it. And I think that's a neat thing, having that connection with people and getting them to understand, like, hey, we're being who we are. We have some kind of, interesting thing. And I think what's also interesting is the amount of people that have traveled. So, it seems like Austin, from the book, it seems like Austin is like a traveling creative community.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that? I mean, the only time I've been to Austin is driving
through in the rain.
In the rain on a 4th of July. Crazy at night from Louisiana. I did the whole drive. I drove from middle of Louisiana to southern Arizona at one time, which was crazy. But it happened. And you guys had fireworks going, and I kept looking at the fireworks. I was like, don't pull over. But you had that beautiful, your Capitol building and everything. But it seems like such a creative community, with the music, obviously, and everything. But how is it now? What is the balance like when you look at the weird homes versus, regular homes?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we're the live music capital of the world, and I know you're going to have some music on later, so we're excited about that. And we've always prided ourselves that. And Austin's this college town that really came alive in the 50s and the 60s and just had a ton of the counterculture move here. And that counterculture of the 60s and 70s, of course, were artists and free spirits and architects and people who just thought differently than the rest of us do, which we loved. And that grew and grew and grew. And then that turned into the 80s of Keep Austin Weird. And so we have that kind of live music capital of the world fame, the Keep Austin Weird fame. And, it's funny because I think as a city, we're wrestling with that. We're also we're the number 2 fastest growing city in the United States. So we do get out and travel and go places, but more than often people move here. And so houses pricing go up. Jobs are harder to find. Our traffic is horrible. We have giant, very corporate, entities being created here and founded here, and tech, just tons of technology. Yeah. And that goes directly against Keep Austin Weird. A lot of times those folks don't want to see that funky art car parked next to their Lamborghini, right?
Oh, I do.
And hey, I do too.
Because I have one. I have a Lamborghini in my back pocket.
No, but I was just thinking about the
and so we're just kind of
like, no more weirdos.
Yeah, but you've got your mayor likes you. Your mayor's on your side.
He does. He's on the cover, and that's just it. We're all wrestling. Are we that old, funky, interesting Austin? Are we the new Austin? And the truth is we're something that's in between both of those, because, hey, Chelle and I love technology. We're running a very technology-enabled business and, social media and Instagram and YouTube. Yeah. And our homeowners love to promote their art and want to sell their art, right? They're capitalists too. And it's interesting. We can all get along and all play in the same space.
Absolutely.
We just got to figure out the traffic around here, right?
Well, we're in the business of digital magazines.
Yeah.
And podcasts and all that. So we get that part. I mean, it's there. Use it for sure. But why? There's something about America that goes into this either or.
Yeah.
And in other countries, it's like, well, let's just see. But here seems, for whatever reason, maybe it's because our political parties are red and blue. Well, let's get some purple. Why do we have to be either or all the time?
Yeah, Chelle, can you do my hair in purple?
Cool.
Totally. I can. We've got several shades of that ready to go.
there is that either or attitude here that's very strong, and it's too bad. Maybe it's because we're new, because we're the new kids on the block, country-wise. Maybe that's what it is. People forget we're a new country compared to other cultures who have been through there. We're new, and now we're like whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's interesting. It's interesting, and I think that the arts are so, and how we live in that creative side, I think that's what's so important about keeping that alive, which you are both doing so awesomely. And I'm so glad about your book, because that can go out and inspire everyone. If people don't get to Austin or Portland or New Orleans or Houston, which everyone, they're all fabulous cities. You gotta go. I know we can't wait to really go hang out in Austin, and I don't know. I just want to go hang out and do the music apparently, and apparently really good barbecue. There's there's, and you got rivers and water and all kind. It's cool. It's swampy out there.
They have dinosaurs with plants on their back.
Oh, that's the thing. I know. I want to go and buy toys and put things in it. It's weird.
Doesn't
Toy Joy.
The succulents and the hiking boots?
Yeah, but that's what I have.
Right.
I have hiking boots that I've been using for 5 years that are going to have weird things come out of them.
They're going to have succulents planted in them.
Okay, I want to ask each of you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when you guys come down, we'll go for barbecue for lunch. We'll go to Toy Joy, which is our world famous weird toy store that Paul Rubens of Pee Wee Herman fame loves. And then we'll take you to maybe one of our weird homes and get you a personal tour. How about that?
We would love that. We would love that. We would love that because
just
Austin.
Name the time.
Well, it's happening because we're going to Natchitoches and we've got this thing, and then we're doing Natchez Trace up to Kentucky so we can go have bourbon. Because apparently that's the thing we get at the end. You get that bourbon at the
Love
end.
it.
But we have no problem with travel at all. But yeah, Austin is just like this thing, that you got to do. And I think Tucson is like a baby Austin in a way. And I can't say that really because I haven't done Austin, but Tucson has that, creative blend of people, and that's why we're the big blend, because it is about having the cowboy and the creative, and cowboys are creative too. So it's like that blend with I think what you have in Austin. It's cool. So I hope you can come do a weird tour here because there's weird homes here. I know they are.
Oh, well, they got to
They're
go to
there.
29 Palms.
I know.
Tucson
29
sounds great. We're going to put that on the list.
Mm-hmm.
But
29
Palms in California is the whole place is just.
You have to go to the whole Joshua Tree area because there's people with a thing called buttercup, which is a mushroom lit up with dildos, and it rotates.
Oh wow!
And then you have a crochet, like a house of crochet.
Museum.
I know. All I can say. That is an interesting place. They have houses made out of glass bottles and all kinds of things. It's crazy out there. That's
the what do you call it? The Integratron that twirls around and contacts aliens.
It's cool.
Go.
So I want to know.
Oh wow.
You could babysit or house sit. I call it babysit because these homes are treasured places with all these treasures and goods in them. And the one lady that allows kids to run rampant is awesome. I love every single person in that book. Yours at the Weird Homes, everyone. Go get it. If you could house it or babysit for a weekend and they hand you the keys and said, this is yours for the weekend, which home would you choose? So we'll start with you, Shelley.
That's a great question. We haven't been asked that before.
Yeah, because usually we get asked, what's your favorite home? And mine is Casa Neverlandia. However, it has no AC it has no central air, so I probably wouldn't want weekend keys to it. Sorry, James. Probably the Johnson Chronister Manor, which is the house that looks like the castle, the one we were talking about earlier with the big mouth for the fire, that the fireplace is a big mouth on this, man, and I would love to have the keys to that to just explore all the little rooms and look at every single book they have. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful place, and it has such a good energy, and it feels so open. That, to me, it's weird, but it's just, I don't know, there's a great energy to it. So that would be my pick.
Okay, and would you go and throw the glass in there with a little sherry and go to hell?
Oh, yes, I would love to do that.
I know, with a British accent. Go to hell, you bloody bastard, and throw it in there.
And then I would end up burning their house down. So.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Yeah, you got to be careful what you put in the glass. Can't blow it up. So, David, what about you?
So I'm going to go with two, and great question. I think I would want to go stay in the dumpster for the weekend. I think that would be just fun. It's a little curled up, little nestled space, like a dog in a crate or something.
You want to go lay in the fetal position somewhere? Is that what you're telling me?
And then walk to the bars on the east side and go visit some friends that live over there. It'd be a cool little crash pad. And then there's a house that we're just adding this year for VIP. And so it's not in the book, but you guys and everybody listening can Google it. It's called The Bloom House, BLOOMHOUSE, The Bloom House, Austin, Texas. And it is just this fantastically groovy late 70s mushroom house that looks like it grew up out of the forest floor in the middle of West Austin, up in kind of our hills and our forest area. And the folks building it were just these architects who are like, we're done with this modern square look. What is the opposite of Soviet industrial buildings and gray and dark colors? We are going to build a house where there are no straight lines. Everything is a circle or a mushroom or a twist. And that's on our house. That's on our VIP tour for this year for the Austin tour. But yeah, folks listening can just Google Bloom House, Austin, Texas, and you'll see photos of it everywhere.
I love that. No square line, like straight lines.
We learned that in Africa, all the homes were round, the rondables, because the square corners hide evil spirits. So if your house is round,
and
you
snakes.
Don't have any.
That's cool.
And snakes.
See how that works?
Snakes.
Yeah.
Snakes. And
I love
snakes
it.
again. Black mamba. Open the laundry house
corners
area.
Where things hide.
I remember as a kid, and I open up the door, and there's a black mamba right up in the corner, of the door frame thing. Just all like,
whoa.
But
like, no.
if you don't have corners, you don't have things that can hide.
Yeah.
And and so if I was going to build a house, I would do it round, circular.
I love that. I love the mushroom
Love
side too.
it.
That's kind of like Norwegian, like almost. Yeah,
or
I love
a yurt.
that. Oh, we like yurt.
Oh, I like it.
I'm into that. I'm into that. And like the earth home that you have in there too. It's like
that's exactly what I was thinking of when you said that. That would be the perfect one for you.
I would live in that. I would go beyond house sitting. I would live in it very easily, and I'd be like,
and I would paint all the walls.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I'd grow mushrooms.
Love it.
I know. I didn't bring that up. Okay, so we kept talking about your tour. So April 21st is your 5th annual Weird Homes Tour of Austin. Have I got the date right for that?
That is correct.
Cool.
Everyone, that you can get out there, go do it. If you can't get to Austin, go get the book because it's mind-blowing. It's so cool.
And get some paint.
And if you're a collector of anything, you're going to like this book. Wouldn't you guys say that too? It's for people that collect stuff. Like American Pickers, if they went to any of these homes, they would they would get it.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. It's any kind of collector.
And any TV producer out there listening, please come talk to us. We are very much open for a Weird Homes Tour TV show on Netflix or somewhere
that
else.
Would be
you should. They need to. They have one on Netflix on hotels, and it's like commercial.
Oh, we love
like,
that show.
Love that
Oh, come
show.
on! But you guys could be better. You could be better. You could do this better.
They would be really good on that.
Like I'm just saying. Okay, so you saw it on Netflix,
Thank
but
you.
actually, because we saw it was there, and I'm like, is that commercial? Like no, but you're like, it's cool.
I think that'd be
do
awesome.
Do it because Netflix
Yes,
said
please.
they're running out of material. So
well, good. Put that out into the universe for us, and they'll listen to this and come and find us.
That's it. So before you go, I'm going to play music, but Shelley, I have a question. So this whole Weird Home Tour thing, like, you know, all of our interviews of the years, and we have had hairstylists on the show, and we've talked about, like, there's the whole hair show thing where people go crazy with the weird hairstyles, just like when you look at fashion runways and you go, like, really, is anyone going to wear that?
Maybe where the person had the surfboard put in her
hair.
hair.
So, like, when you do the Weird Home Tours and you look at these homes, do you ever transport that to hair?
Oh, my gosh.
I don't really. You know, it's funny. I'm always.
You could have
I think that unconsciously everywhere I go, look at things, and I think my brain probably. I look at everyone's hair, and I'm not judging it. People are always scared I'm judging their hairdos. It's so funny, but I do look at it, and probably subconsciously or unconsciously it does translate, and I think about things like that. But no, can never say it's like actually. Made my work different from looking at a weird home, but that is funny to think about.
But you're going to go get a home and build it in the shape of a beehive.
Yeah, see, there you go.
There you go.
But I want hair cutters. So when we come to Austin, I want to come hang out with you because I'm scared. I'm terrible about going to the hair salon and like anything. Can I drink champagne and like come see you and then put a color in?
And we have complimentary wine. You're all good.
Oh God, no wonder you're so successful. That is so good. Okay, so we're going to play some special music for you from Austin, Texas. We have to like put the musical ambassador of Austin, Texas on, Shelle King, because she's Shelle. See, she is the first woman appointed by the Texas legislature to represent the state as its official Texas state artist. And Shelle King is her name, and she rocks.
She's cool.
And she's been on our show for years. And so we wanted to play some of her music. And I'm going to call her and tell her to go play a tour. She needs to go on a tour because she dig this. But we're going to play a song. She's got an album out called Fan Faves that just came out this year. She's got a new album coming out this spring. See, in time for the house tour, just saying Austin's happening. But this is called Call of My Heart, and it talks about going home and doing what your heart says. So I thought that would be a perfect match for you guys. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It was amazing.
You guys take care. Enjoy your tour. We'll see you when we get to Austin. Everyone, WeirdHomesTour.com. Go get the book again. It is out. It's through Skyhorse Publishing. Give them a shout out for doing this. You can get on Amazon, your local bookstore. The book again is Weird Homes: The People and Places That Keep Austin Strangely Wonderful. Again, from David J. Neff and his wife Shelle Neff. Go get it. And here it is, Call of My Heart from Shelle King. Go to her website, ShelleKing.com. That's an EY for Shelle because that's how she likes it.
That's right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sometimes and then not at all, but baby, right now it's pouring down for you. make a new start, 'cause the call of my heart is calling me home.